Happy Wednesday! We are back in my Nautilus Adventure toy box, and today I'm going to start working on the third of 4 toy boxes in this adventure. And to make it easier to get to the third level, which we created last time, I'm going to place a temporary toy box door here in level 1. And I'll just drop it here. This will let us bypass level 2 and go directly to level 3. And we'll go ahead and configure the door. So under the properties, I am going to link an existing toy box because we created it last time. And this will be Nautilus. This is the copy of the Nautilus that we made last time. And I could set this like we did last time to 1. Doesn't really matter because this is just temporary. And there we go. So at this point, I am going to save my toy box, and then I will go through that door and meet you on the other side. All right, here we are in the toy box for level 3, which is another copy of the Nautilus toy box. And it's the same thing I had left in that file originally. When we saved off our Nautilus before we started building our adventure. So once again, we do not need that. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this for now. And we don't need this or this trigger. For the sky this time, I want to show the passing of time. So I want to give the idea that Jack has been sailing for a while, and so I'm going to use the moonlit ocean paradise. Again, if you don't have this sky, you can use Nemo sky from that power disk. But if you're on console, you should have this sky, because the latest final update from Disney Infinity 3.0 gave us this sky. If you're on PC, all you have is the Nemo Power Disk sky. Alright, so this gives us basically the same underwater scene, or very similar to the one we used last time, except now it's nighttime. And I just kind of like the idea that Jack has been sailing a while. It kind of gives that impression. Okay. Now for the third level, I want to create a bit of a platforming challenge. My plan is for the Nautilus to be parked over a deep abyss near a cliff. And I'm going to put the cliff out in the front of the ship out that direction. And the player needs to get over to the cliff and enter a cave, which will take them to the final level where they'll battle Davy Jones. But I want to make this platforming challenge interesting. I don't just want to dump a bunch of moving platforms in here and then have the player simply jump across them, because frankly that can be kind of boring. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think we can be a little bit more creative. And so I'm going to draw on some inspiration from the original 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie, and I want to create an underwater battle between the player and a giant squid. And the idea is that the player will need to get past the squid in order to reach the cliffs. And I think that could be exciting, and it would give the player a reason for jumping around the area, especially if they're trying to get around behind the giant squid for some reason to attack it. And so I think as I begin, I want to grab this pipe climb here, and I want to extend this downward. And I don't think we need to go too far with it. I think that should be sufficient. And then we're going to come under the terrain category. We've got to go to the right a ways, about halfway through the drawer, because there's some nice little rocky cliff pieces that are kind of nice, little ledge pieces. I'm thinking something like that. And I can see I'm going to have to move this string pipe temporarily. So we'll put that over there. And we'll move this back. Try to put the seam directly underneath that pipe. The terrain seam that we're going to have. And for the theme, I want to use the Morro Bay Seascape. Again, if you don't have that theme, you can use any kind of sandy theme you want. And then we're just going to build kind of a little floating island for the player to land on when they exit the Nautilus. And we'll grab our pipe climb and bring that back. Alright, so there the player comes out of the Nautilus and they're on here. And they need to head that way. Now, I could put that giant squid out this way. That would make more sense to put it between this ledge and the cliffs to make it clear the player has to get past them. But I'm just concerned that it's going to be underneath the shadow of the ship here and it's going to be hard to see. And I'm also thinking it might be kind of nice if we stuck it out off to the side a little bit, so that we might be able to catch a glimpse of it from the window. As we're inside and we look out, we might be able to spot it down there. So I think I'm going to put it off to the side here, and they're going to have to battle this thing before they can make their way over to those cliffs. And for the giant squid, this is where the challenge is going to come in. Because we're going to have to use basic building blocks for this. And we do have some rail slide styles, one of which I believe might work kind of well. It's a giant tentacle. So I'm thinking maybe if we drop this off over here, we can have the giant squid grasping things with the tentacles. That'll give us something to slide on. So here's the giant squid ramp rail. I'll set that to be my theme. And it's kind of hard to see. And that side you get a little bit better look at it. So I think that could be kind of cool. It's going to be an awful thin tentacle, unfortunately, given the blocks that we're going to be using, but don't think there's any way around that. Alright, and then down to the basic blocks. And by the way, I think I forgot to mention, let me drop the block I'm thinking of using here. We'll come back to that in a minute. You'll notice that already has a texture on it, because I forgot to mention that before I started rolling this clip, after I got into the toy box, once again I took out the crew quarters that were up in the front of the ship, and I took out the galley that was in the back, just like I did in the previous level, and I closed it off with a couple of doors here and in the front, and that let me reclaim a little bit of memory. So this is what we have over on the right there. I think that should be sufficient for what we need here. And I could probably delete this sky changer. I think I will for right now. I have an idea for maybe using that, but I'll get to that later. Alright, so for the style on the squid, let's see what we have to work with. I don't think an Asgardian theme is probably going to work real well. Blue scales. Yeah, it's a little bright, and squids don't have scales, so that probably wouldn't be a good texture to use. Groot? That has possibilities. I kind of like that. monster. I think that's going to be a bit bright. It's dark and underwater, so and given this the color of that tentacle, I'm thinking we should probably go with something lighter. Yeah, probably not. And there may be a few other options, but I think I'm liking the Groot style the best. So I think we're going to go with that. Alright, and then we just want to start trying to shape in some kind of a squid, and hopefully it doesn't look too blocky here. I did play around with this a little bit prior to this video, so I do have an idea in mind here, because I didn't want to flounder through this during this video and waste all the time trying to figure out how to build this. So this is what I came up with, and you guys can tell me what you think of this. We're going to put a couple of these blocks here. And I'm going to put like a little protrusion off on the side here to kind of protect the eyes, because the eyes are going to go behind this squid on the sides. And if we don't have some little protrusions here that'll kind of protect those eyes, there's nothing to prevent the player from shooting at them from the front. And the goal is to get the player to platform around this thing and attack it from the sides. So that's what I want to do. Let's see, we have these pieces. So we can put some of these along here. I think I'm going to do 2, 3, 4. And then we also have this half dome, which we can put on the front and back, like that. And there's an upside down set of these as well. As well as the upside down half dome. And then I'm going to put a couple of blocks in here. Like that. And this is where the eyes are going to go. So let me come down here and we'll grab the target. By the way, I was on that locator because I meant to put a locator down. Right, so those will serve as the squid's eyes and also our targets for a battle. And then, let's see. I think we will grab this piece again. Come down here. Like that. Put those under there like that. That under there like that. Pick up that piece one more time. There. And that's kind of what I came up with for my giant squid for the body. And you guys can let me know what you think of that. Now there's one other problem. And that there's nothing to prevent the player from coming over here and doing that. And so, one more little tweak I want to make, which is not kind of anatomically correct here, but we need to make sure the player can't do that. So I'm going to put some eyelids, I guess you could call them, up there, which will force the player then to have to maneuver around this thing. And there we go. That's my giant squid. And we'll add some tentacles in a moment. Before we do that, I want to forget the other thing I wanted to do. And that is to put a locator up here in the wheelhouse. When we set up the toy box door last time, we had added a destination ID of 1. And the idea is I want the player to come to the point where they were in the last toy box when they triggered the toy box door change. And that means they're here in the wheelhouse in front of the ship's wheel. So I'm going to set up a locator facing that direction towards the wheel. And we're going to set the properties on that to match the door. We had set the door to 1, so we'll set that to 1. Alright, so when we come from level 2, this is where the player will be, is in the wheelhouse. Okay, so back down to here. Let's see what this looks like. Oop. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Alright, so we got that thing sitting out over there. Now, let's add some more tentacles to that thing. So we'll come down to the platforming toys. Sorry for the microphone sound. I'll try to edit that out. But I had a little problem with my mic there. Okay. I'm kind of envisioning this thing, tentacles going every which way, grasping at stuff. And the stuff it's grasping at will give us our platforming places to go. So we got one going this way. Let's see if we connect this up over here. And we have to style each of these pieces individually. I do not want to put down the rail slides and theme all, because we have some rail slides up inside the Nautilus that we do not want to suddenly be changed to tentacles. So that's really important. Alright, so there's one. We'll put another one going up over this way. Okay. And let's see, can't really do another one here. Well, maybe I can if I put a little short rail out here. Style that. I'm doing a theme all, but if you've played around with these, you'll know each of these rail slides has its own separate theme. So just because I theme, or not theme all, since just so I set the theme on one, that only applies to that style of rail. unfortunately. Alright, we'll just have this one kind of go off into nowhere. And for the one over on this side, I think we're going to run into the same sort of problem. But I think we can put the short rail in. Okay. And, I don't really want to use a straight, but I don't think that's going to be a good idea either. That's going to look a little weird. I think it might be better to save memory and use the same kind of rail slide we've already used in the past. Giant squid rail. Because I've used a number of these inside the Nautilus. I'll just put another one of these up here. And maybe I won't be able to make that connect up to the island there. I was thinking we could, but it's not looking that way, is it? On the other hand, if we move this over just slightly, we can make it connect up. I'll have to move that pipe climb again. All right, and then back to the rail slides. That'll work. All right, and then we'll style that. And there we go. So there's our squid with tentacles going every which way. And that looks pretty good, actually. All right, let's pick this piece up and put it back. I want to create a couple of little islands now that the tentacles would be grasping. And this gives the player a landing spot. And I don't want to use too many different kinds of terrain pieces here because we don't have the memory for that. Here we go. I think the player will end up jumping over that. Let's find out. Okay, so we hop down here. And then if we hop on this one. All right, it does put us up here, so that's good. Thinking maybe I want to turn that though. Just to be safe. Yeah, because that's a problem. Trying to get back on it afterward could be tricky. Alright, so we'll delete that and we'll rotate this. Okay, there we go. And this one shouldn't have any problem because that gets out over here. Okay, now we need to get the player around to the side where they can get at those eyes and shoot at them. So this is where the platforming will come in. So we go up to the platforming toys. And I don't know which way would be faster. We'll go left here. Or maybe something like this big spinner. And I'll try to put it somewhat close here, simply because it's going to be a tough jump. And for the theme on that, we should do something different. I want to make it easier to see. Let's see, let's go this way this time. It should look like something from underwater. How about like seaweed? Yeah. Probably something organic would be better. Something like some kind of underwater creature or something. Yeah, I don't think plants are gonna work. Well, that's kind of interesting. I think that might be too sparkly. Yeah, that's too sparkly. And not that. Well, probably not. I do have an idea for that, though. Oh, how about this? Yeah, that might work. I'll set that to be my theme. I can always change it later if I decide I don't like it. Alright, and then we'll place one of these out over here. We don't have to do too many of those. Yeah, because this is going to get us where we need to go. I want to give the player a stable platform where they can take aim and shoot. So I don't want anything moving out here. That's a nice stable platform there. Alright, on the other side, we should probably do something a little bit different maybe. And I'm thinking I'm going to pick one of these floor pieces up here. Drop this out here because what I'm thinking is for this part we'll use some of these clouds from the Inside Out playset. I think those might be kind of fun. And I'm going to put a trail of these from up here down to a point down over here. The problem is with these, if you've played with them at all, once you put them down, they're in the toy box forever. There is no way to select them and delete them. And so if I'm going to use those, I usually like to put them down with a replayer. Whoops, not that drawer. Because at least if I don't like them, I can clear the replayer. And I have a way to remove them. Sometimes I put these down and they look like they'll work, and then I play through it and I realize that some of them are too close together or too far apart or whatever. So I'll step on the replayer. Brings us the menu in the lower right. On my Wii U, I press B to record, and then I step off. It gets me back in the editor. Or allows me to, anyway. And let's come off the back side of this thing. And I don't want to get too close to this, in case I need to move that rock. So let's bring this, let's see, they got to come back, don't they? So let's put this here. Put another one down over here. Give them a little bit larger pad to land on there. I want these to be too far apart, and you don't want to equally space them either. That'll work. Alright, then we'll exit. Stop recording. Alright, does that intersect with that at all? Doesn't, but let's pick this side up just to be safe. Alright, how does this look? That lets us get right up here where we can shoot the monster. Very good. And then, uh-oh. I think we might need to raise this up a tad. Should be okay, though. Yeah, I got a good look at it still. Nothing obstructing my view. And then the question is can we get back? And we can. And they come back automatically on their own, so I think that'll work. All right. Well, I think we're out of time for today. In the next episode, I'm going to continue working on this platforming battle and finish building the cliffs off over that way. And we'll see how things go. Before you go, leave a comment and let me know what you think of my giant squid and my idea for the battle. And if you have any ideas about how to make this creature more threatening, let me know, because I definitely want this to feel more dangerous and not just look threatening. Because right now this thing is sitting here, but I can move around and ride the rails and do whatever, and it's not attacking me or doing nothing. And I'm frankly not quite sure how to make this thing attack me. So I'm just curious if you guys have any ideas for that. And if you enjoyed my video today, please hit the like button as well, and subscribe for more toy box builds like this. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.